What you gonna do about it? Something.
The views in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests, not the Yolanda Monyai brand. The content is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and we make no guarantees about its accuracy, reliability, or suitability.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Loud Wednesdays with Yolanda. Welcome to our Spotify channel and our YouTube channel. As you guys can see, today I am riding solo. But don't worry, guys, I got you. Our girl is out there in the world doing big things. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, our guest, we did promise you. I don't know if this is a part 2.
Yeah, let's call it part 2.
Should we call it part 2?
Yeah.
We're here with David Mikell, our relationship expert, our marriage counselor, our Yongindo, who's here to guide us in the right direction. As you guys saw last week, we were talking all things marriages, family, healthy relationships, counseling, financial responsibilities and communication in relationships and new marriages. Yolanda, right? And due to popular demand, we had to do the part. We had promised you a part 2, but due to popular demand, we had to do the part 2 immediately. Yes. And thank you to everyone who had sent in messages and voice notes, and we will get to that.
It will take a while.
It's going to take a while.
You're forgiven.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank
you so much
for gracing us with your lovely presence.
I can't believe
our audiences are loving you, by the way.
Yes. No, I was shocked. I've been having, I had a busy week. People have been asking, oh yeah, I heard you say this and that. And guys, I can't appreciate you enough. Thank you so much for the interaction and the responses, the questions, and
So, I mean, you know. So last week, right, we touched on relationships.
Yes.
We touched on what young or new couples or couples who are trying to go into a new marriage are doing wrong. You highlighted something very important about how in 2025, we are just doing this whole
dating
relationship thing wrong, right? And before we ended it, I had wanted to go into the topic of polygamy.
Yes.
Right? Because all of a sudden, our brothers now want isithembu.
Yes.
You know? And for a Xhosa girl like me, I mean, I grew up in a Xhosa household.
Yes.
And in my culture, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but don't come for my head, just correct. Because
please.
Don't come for the head, just correct, right? Yes. In my culture, isithembu is reserved for people in royal families, right? But now you're finding every Tom, Dick and Harry wanting 3, 4, 5 million wives.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I just want us to touch on that and how you, with the work that you do, you know, with young couples, how do you advise couples that are interested in going into a polygamous marriage?
Yes. I think the first thing that we need to clarify, like you were saying, don't come for our head.
Please, guys.
Yes. But now I did a little bit of my own research around the whole idea of polygamy, and one thing that I've realized is it was never aimed at greed. As we witness in our days. That there are a lot of men who are going into it for all the wrong reasons. And one of those wrong reasons is that they are just ill-disciplined. And if you ask them a few questions, why do you want to do this? What you realize that it is not even aligned to the original idea of why polygamy became part of a culture. And of course, I will also touch on that to say, remember, culture is accepted practices. So for those who are thinking of going into polygamy, I strongly, I always ask this question, the why. And more often than not, the answers that you get, you realize you are just greedy.
You're greedy.
And
you have
you
a
will
long
never
heart.
stop. Yes. We can give you the second, the third, the fourth. You'll always want the fifth. In fact, let's just say you'll always want the next. So now, when you go into history, you realize some of the reasons why in certain communities polygamy was practiced was. This is my own research. So you might not find it anywhere, but as I'm like, now I picked up a trend. Number one, people were fighting for territories.
Okay.
So now if I am here and I am David, Mikell, and then I got married to Yaya, so that we put it into context, and I happen to pass on. Now, my children, remember, they will be bearing my own surname. So because the people were living in their own lands, as in the Mikells would stay in a particular place. So to defend that territory, what then do we do with those kids? So now what they would do is that they will look for, even in biblical terms, they will find a brother so that they could do what? Keep the lineage, so we can grow the lineage. It was for strength. It was for economic purposes. It was not aimed at like multiple partners with which you can experiment and have threesomes. No, that was not the idea. It was both political and it was also economic. So in other areas, so what they would do is that, okay, fine, maybe I was the only man, So now the entire council would come together to say, there is a family, there is a young widow, Kiyaya, and she's got 2 kids, or maybe she doesn't even have kids. So what do we do? Because we understand that women are the ones who carry the responsibility to, reproduce the seed. So they would say to reserve the strength and also is what the reputation
Isithembu.
Danko. So isithembu. What they would do is that they will make sure that you are married into a particular family. And in that particular family, sometimes you will realize that all the men are married. You get? So all my brothers, let's say I've got brothers, all my brothers are married. So you would go and marry one of my brothers and be the second wife. But you see, it was not his decision. It was both political and economic. And for those reasons, you would be now the second wife. It's not him going around saying, I will take that one. And in other instances, the last thing, it is the fact that there were more women than men. And now, because of, again, the possibility that it would pose to that particular region. Say, if we have got 15 women and 10 men, so which means on a yearly basis, there are other 5 women who could be bearing kids so that we can grow our clan. And they are not, it's like, so we are losing out on them. So marrying them was not an individual idea of greed. Again, it was so that we've got a potential of growing ourselves exponentially. And so I'll take the second one, you'll take the second one, and it would grow like that. So the third, the fourth, and the fifth, it would always follow that pattern. So for those who want to go into polygamous relationship, let us now first answer the why. Because the why becomes the most critical
It's the
information.
most important.
Yes, because now you're just thinking it's fancy. And, between you and I hope my wife doesn't say this. There are times where I feel inadequate. And not because of finances and what, it's because the demand of life and the responsibilities on my shoulders. Now, having to put everything else aside, I am here right now. I'm a limited resource. When I leave this place, remember, as we are talking, I am there's energy that is coming out. Yes. So when I go back home, there are some questions that you might ask that are intense, that are touching even on my childhood traumas or some of those. So when I go home, I'm the same person who has gone through the day. So imagine if I go home and then I've got 2. Just one sometimes when you get what I mean. So now, if we do not speak strongly to this, we are going to create a new culture and it will look like we are perpetuating what our forefathers were doing, but the reasons have changed. And if the reasons are changing, then if the why has changed, then also the means must also change. To say, don't be fooled by what you see on TV and think it's all that. But that's my research. So let's answer the why. Yeah. Let's answer the why.
But what if a person might argue and say, like just on your last point, that in 2025, we still have more women than we have men?
Yes.
What do you say to someone that comes up now with that argument? Because it's a valid argument.
It's a valid argument. Yes.
Every day girls are being born.
Yes.
Yeah.
And boys, girls
sometimes, and boys just a little.
Okay. Yes. So once we have answered the why, remember, I am not speaking against it and I'm not even for it.
Yes.
What I'm trying to uncover is the reasons behind it. So if your answer is because women are more. So should it be, or should it happen somewhere down, the path of life, that the women are now, the men are now more? Are we going to allow women to take, it has been a discussion that has been going on for the past few years, polyandry. Is it what it's
when
called?
A woman takes two
men.
With the shortage that we already have.
Yes, to say now you're going to take, So now, the entire idea of polygamy, that's the foundation is I am taking the second woman for this and that particular reason. And the general one of saying because women are more, it exposes your greed. Okay, between you and I. You see, we are in this particular establishment.
Yeah.
Establishment. There are so many. Right in front of us, there is a store. There are other stores around here. So now, the only reason why every one of them is still open and they have survived all these years is because they are catering for a particular market. You can't be catered for by everyone. So even as a man, you need to understand that you are a limited resource and your decisions, they reflect on they affect your entire life. Because if we go into that marriage, remember there are going to be kids who are going to be born. Raising kids is more than just giving out money. You are supposed to sit down and listen. Some of the in a separate discussion, we'll talk about it. Because some of our children are being robbed of being raised right because their fathers think. You find a man who says when he's home with his children, say, Majita, today I can't come because I'm babysitting. How do you babysit your own child?
That's diabolical.
Thank you. But now, do you see where it comes from?
Yeah.
Now, with Yaya, you and I can decide we're going to have 3 kids. And then with another woman, I'm going to decide we're going to have 3 kids. But all of those kids combined, they are mine. Do I have the capacity to take care of 6 children all at once? So the idea is, it's not greed. So for the one who says, no, I want to go, and there are reasons, and now the question will be, what are the valid reasons? And the valid reasons are the ones that are acceptable between the 2 partners. Especially because according to the culture that we think we are practicing, the first wife would always be consulted. It is not a decision that you just take randomly because she is the one who's supposed to educate the second wife
as to how things are done in the home.
Dango. So to avoid a lot of mess, then the sister wife has to be part of that decision. But this one that we see nowadays, that somebody is married in KZN and then there's another wife and then they tell you to say, amongst other things, I got there's a wife.
By the way.
Yeah, it's a by the way. So it can never be for economic purposes like our forefathers were doing it. So now that's why I'm saying, if the why does not match what they were answering back then also the reason why, the desire for this has to be questioned. Because otherwise we will be thinking we are upholding a culture of the past, only to realize we are creating a new one which is without foundation.
But what if someone is arguing that the why, and I'm saying this because there's a particular friend of mine that I know.
Yes.
And he's adamant on having isithembu.
Yes.
Yeah. And every single time we have the conversation with him, but this thing of you and isithembu, make it make sense.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
And one of his arguments was, instead of me stepping out of the house and having children outside of the house, let me rather bring in a second wife and know that these are my 2 wives that I am going to love and I'm going to have children with and I'm going to be satisfied.
Yes.
That was his argument.
Yes.
And he's adamant that every man needs a second wife because as a woman, you are unable to, fully be functional, fully operating and fully be there for your partner. Just as one wife, you need assistance. Yes. In the household, we need 2 moms in order to operate successfully, in order for the children to thrive, in order for just for the what's the term now? For the legacy.
Yes.
To go on and to grow and to flourish, we need 2 wives.
Okay.
So what do you say to someone that has that mentality?
The first thing is, discipline yourself. Tomorrow is always fancy. You know, when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m., 10 minutes later sounds like a possibility that you are going to do it. So tomorrow always sounds, no, tomorrow I'm going to do it. I promise you, yeah. Okay, what do you, no, tomorrow. Tomorrow I promise you. Because once somebody says that I with 2 wives, I will be done. The issue that is being addressed, okay, let me put it this way also. Marriage does not cure lust. Being married will not cure lust the same way that having power does not cure narcissism. It doesn't. The more somebody is given, and it's when we want to accept that it's a human nature, that is why we need to be trained. Because training, what it does is that it reduces or it focuses your strength to a particular target. Because otherwise, without measurement, let's say for instance, you walk into a store and you buy a jersey. They did not measure you, but they have done research to say people of this age, of this particular height, this would fit them. So without that measurement, it means every one of us will be queuing for us to be dressed. Some of us will die of cold. So we have come up with systems in order for us to keep order. So now, marriage as an institution does not bring that order to an individual if you are already broken. So the argument of saying at the second wife, the legacy is going to go, why can't we have that legacy go on now with this woman? What is it that is missing from this woman that you think you're going to find in the second woman? And let me tell you something. Some of us, we have never even been exposed to isithembu. Sometimes the second wife also comes in as a distraction and destroys everything. It's not always rosy. The second wife sometimes does not come to build. She gets there and she realizes, she destroys everything. So what I'm saying in essence is, when we speak into the issues of marriage, people need to understand that you need to come as an individual who is composed and complete. So your last, if we give you the second wife, you will always think, if you can't discipline yourself enough. I mean, a cousin of mine says this on my wedding day. He says, if this marriage does not work out, I would advise you to just forget about marriage. Because it doesn't get better with time. It's one of those things that if you don't get it right the first time, the other times
it's not gonna work.
I mean, stats speak for themselves. People who divorce, they are more likely to divorce again and again. So somebody who gets a second wife, they are more likely to get another wife and another wife. So speaking on the issues of legacy, remember legacy, we don't go to Home Affairs and register ourselves. It's not a queue. If you are not willing to work yourself, if you lack discipline, it does not matter how much resources we give unto you, you'll still be poor, you'll still be unsuccessful. And to close it off, let us look at the people who have made it in life. How many of them are in polygamous relationships?
I don't know a single person that actually... There's not a single one.
Then somebody will come and argue, say, no, they've got girlfriends. Let them come forward. The fact that they are hidden, for those of you who know that successful people have got girlfriends, you should ask yourself, why do they remain hidden? There's a particular reason. And the people who are successful and rich, remember, they don't think like you and I. Yes, they are surrounded by attorneys. They've got, like somebody has got 4-5 attorneys who are able to advise them to say, this is what you do. So you and I, just coming from Pretoria, sitting on this chair, second woman, the closest I've ever come to the law was going to court for a ticket, for a vehicle, a fine. That's how close I came to a court. And you think you can compare yourself to somebody who's successful. The cure to all of this is let us be disciplined. So that even when we give you the second wife, we know exactly what we are doing. If you're not disciplined, the second and the third and the fourth will never satisfy you because it is more internal than external.
You know what really gets to me? When I keep wanting to say Pastor.
David!
We're not David. Yes. You know what keeps getting to me now? Is the fact that in most cases, all the men that want isithembu financially can't even provide for the wife or the woman that they have currently. And then now you want to bring in another mouth to feed. God, financially, you already know that it's not make sure. It's not make sure. You know what I mean? Because I always say this, I'm like, if I were to get married and my husband were to come to me and say, Ufuni isithembu, it means I'm not eating his money enough. Clearly, I don't know what to do with his money. Because I must go back to the drawing board and create a new budget. Because clearly we're going to change. And you don't know what to do with this change.
Help you. Yeah. Yes.
So that's the one thing for me. I feel like is always like something that I can never ever grasp my head around, because I'm just like, but even now, you like, even now, where are you going to live? Where are you, like you and your second wives and all your 10 million children? Where, how is all of this going to
roll
financially?
Yes,
like,
financially.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
So in your, line of work,
Yes.
have you ever come across?
Yes.
And except for finding the why,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How do you navigate that conversation with a couple that's just live in front of you now, wanting to take this route of feeding multiple people?
Yes. Now, the first time I encountered a polygamous situation, the woman could not bear children. And okay, let's start with that one, because it was the woman who suggested it.
Okay.
And she said, in light of this, I thought it's only best because they are cultural. They are still like, yeah. And so we came to you because I just feel maybe we need a neutral person who does not know anything about us. And I found that to be quite interesting, because the husband was saying, there are ways, there's in vitro, there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But now remember, one of the reasons why people would go into polygamy is for childbearing. When the first wife, so we are not going to divorce you, but then we'll have another, So she says, no, I want the natural way and everything else. And what I did, the solution to that was just to introduce them to a doctor. Yes, doctor, I almost said his name. Doctor, here I've got a couple here and they would want to talk to you. So we put him on loudspeaker and said, okay, fine. The problem is they can't bear children. And after that discussion, they set up a formal appointment and they went and they met. And the last time I heard from them, they had conceived through in vitro and it was going well.
Oh, wow.
So now that is the first case. The second case, the husband is the one who said, I want a second wife. And the reason why he wanted a second wife is that he had moved he got a promotion and then he was working in another province. And lo and behold, by this time when we were having this conversation, unfortunately, the woman was already pregnant. So he said, no, I don't want to raise my kids outside, blah, blah, blah. So I want to make her a wife. And then to that, because he made it sound like it's all about the child. And I said, for that, all we need is an attorney. I have got another attorney I call, who is Sarah.
So we're now connected.
Yeah, I had to. With time, I had to. So I said, there's a situation here. There's a baby who's on the way and everything else. So when they explained the legal route that the couple could take in order to adopt the baby, and it was just a lengthy call. And then, so the man, then we realized it had nothing to do with the child. It's just this man is in love with that particular woman. And now, so now they had to come. We had to come back, and he had to confess and say, apart from the child, I need to be honest with you. Like she's wara. And in our conversation, this is what I said to him. And I said, remember, what the material that we use to put on the roof, right, might not look like the one that we use to build the house, but both the roof and the bricks, they make a house. You are like 18 right now. You see this euphoria, this feeling, because that one does not bear your shenanigans. She does not know how you are when you are sick. She does not know a lot about you. It is thrilling. You are in another province and all that you guys are doing are having fun. But the reason why your wife does not look as interesting as that one is because apart from her bearing you kids, she is carrying the weight of your nonsense. And he looked at me like he was looking at me to say, what, as if to say, did you just say that? I'm saying, the reason why
felt
your
exposed,
wife...
I'm assuming,
yes. Like, the reason why your wife feels she's the way that she is because she does not make the demands that the second one is making. That one, she does not have any responsibility. Yes, you came into the province, you are already groomed. You are like a finished product. So she's at the roof. And because the roof is elevated, it all looks glamorous. But here at the ground, because now we have to talk about things that it gets muddy, it gets messy. You don't consider that. So I said to him, if you are going ahead with this second marriage, just know this. It is all going to come to an end. And the roof will look exactly like this one. It will need that paint. The paint that you are refusing to put on this, your first wife, even the roof will require it one day. Are you going to get a third wife? So with all that I was saying, what I want to bring to our attention is the whole ideology of saying, I don't want to go outside. It speaks to your discipline. And you cannot come and threaten us and say, so that I don't go. If you want to go out, my brother, go out. Yeah. So you think we are going, you should be kept by compromise. So if the same woman is to go out and say, you know what, when I look at you, you are too busy. David, sometimes you come home late. Let me go and find someone who can fill in between 6 and 10 when you are not around. That now all of a sudden is a different conversation altogether. So I want to put it on record to say it's a matter of discipline. And we'll get to then what are the acceptable reasons for polygamy. So it is a matter of discipline. When you say, no, so that I don't go out, you are already out.
Yeah.
In fact, you don't value yourself so much. That is the reason why you are willing to expose even the little that you have. Some of the, bruh, I love myself and I would love to believe I'm a good person. But I am not perfect. And because of that, there are things that my wife is bearing with. She's putting up with a lot of some of the things she does not even put to my attention. Thank you.
Who's exposed to the next person back, and this is what your wife is enduring.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's what it comes across as.
Yes.
But when ufuna ngokuthatha our secrets
Very.
and expose them to the world.
Yeah. And that time
Well, everyone must know ukuthi David Mayelelo uyakhona.
So this is what you are putting up with. It's unfair. So men, before we can speak about polygamy, let us speak about discipline. We should have this intentional conversations around this to say the issue of discipline. It's imperative because you are thinking it is selfish. You are thinking of yourself and your pleasure. But marriage takes more than sex. What's with this idea where people sometimes because of being busy and the demand on us, sex is impossible. But intimacy is always. Sex is not intimacy. It's part. It's a step in intimacy.
Yeah.
So we need to adjust our expectations in line and aligned to our discipline. So that at the end of the day, we do not raise a poor generation. The poverty that we are perpetuating, it comes from our selfish ambitions and our greed. I think that's where we should start.
It's greed,
It's greed, guys. It's greed. Like, think about it. So now you are here. You are working a 9 to 5. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And then you are left with Saturday and Sunday. And in there, you still come home around 9, 10 because
And you're coming home defeated.
Yes, you are defeated, you are done.
So what are you pouring into these relationships?
Nothing.
What are you pouring into your children?
No, let me answer. Nothing. You are not pouring anything into your children. Some of us, you wake up late. Oh, you are 18. Or, like, I was shocked. Like, I think I even said it on one of my records. It was actually a pastor who said, I was shocked when I went with my daughter to the store and she was looking for sanitary towels. And I said, no, your mother does not use it. He said, no, this is for me. And his question was, you, Kandi, how old are you? And that's when he retired, actually. He retired from some of his responsibilities at church and said, I've been building other parents' children. My own. You are at that level. Now you have become a woman and I'm not even... I was not even aware. Yes. So let's deal with greed and before we can talk about polygamy. Because some of us, we can't even afford it. In fact, 99% of us can't afford polygamy. Not even just financially, even emotionally.
Emotionally, ne?
Yes.
Because actually that's what I want to go into.
Yes.
Because then who do you feel like needs more counseling when these conversations are being had? Do you think they feel like it's the woman or the man?
It is the man. Yes, because once you are, there's a saying in my language to say when you are falling from a tree, you will do everything in your power. You will hold on even unto the branches. The branches, to the leaves. You will also hold on to the leaves. Leaves that you know for a fact. You know
that they're not going to sustain.
They're not going to sustain, but that's because you are desperate.
Yeah.
So when once a man reaches that point where he has the audacity to express his greed, it means now the cancer has evolved. It is no longer stage 1, it's not 2. In fact, it is spread throughout the body. That's why you are that defeated. So the counseling has to go to the man because also some of us, we are informed. The closest we have ever come to knowledge is mainstream media. And you see an episode of XYZ on TV which is scripted, and you consider that
You want
as
to go by that.
yes. And now there are a lot of cut from the top that you are not aware of. Editing and yes. And ultimately, when you try to apply that, you realize there are a lot of missing steps. So those who are considering, there are women, of course, who are open to the idea, and both of them will still need to be counseled to say now, remember the demand. The demand of this relationship will still stand. It's not that it is, divided into two now that you've got another person. As a woman, you still need to perform your duties 100%. He's not getting a personal assistant to you. He's getting a fully fleshed 100% woman who will also have to perform. Otherwise, the two of you are going to get another assistant until you lose count. You'll never stop. And the man is the one who needs the counseling more. Agrikiana, who came with this whole idea to say, I want to get a second wife. And we interrogate his why, his reasons behind. And then we expose him to the truth of the demand that he's putting on this system that he has already started. Yeah.
Okay, I love that, Pastor. So, last week,
Yes.
we asked our audience to send in messages, to send in voice notes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
by the way, siyabulela. Unfortunately, we can't play all the voice notes, but I have one here, a very good one.
Okay.
It's a little lengthy, so we're gonna need some time. I'm gonna try and bump up the volume on my phone so we can hear it.
Okay.
And then this person wants your advice.
Okay.
And your expertise.
All right.
And I'm hoping that I'm just a bystander because I know nothing. And I'm hoping that you can lead this person towards the right direction.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's my melik.
Hi. So, I watched the podcast last week, ne? And I have a question. I know I'm gonna sound a little bit delusional, but please hear me out, right? So there's this guy we met in 2022. When I met him, I knew he doesn't akafuna ukuchata, akafuna bantwana, akafuna anything committed, right? But I fell into the trap of, being swayed by the moment. And I feel like we connected a lot, right? And this was not even like one-sided. We practically had a relationship, but a relationship with no spoken words about siyajola, right? So to cut long story short, there were moments where we would share a lot about each other, about myself, my family, my past and everything, and him as well. Like he got vulnerable with me sharing about his family, his parents and whatnot, right? There was a time where I was even like just there, man. He was going through something, and whenever I was also going through something. So we were just like literally pouring into each other. So now this guy decides to go to, I'm into deep in this. And then he pulls back like his energy, and I could feel it. And so I also regulated my emotions. I was like, okay, I knew what I was getting myself into, and let me just remove myself from this whole thing. What was nice about the whole thing, or easier, was that as Kukunda we won, we're doing this long distance. And then now, whenever we would meet up, whenever we're in the same place, we fall into this thing of reconnecting and rekindling things. And the thing is, the sex is just so good, guys. And I don't mean good in the physical, like it just feels like we are connecting like deeply. And it's been these years now, this thing going on. And I really feel like there's just this deeper connection with him. And I really don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to break it. I've been dating in between. This thing doesn't stop me from going out and dating and whatnot, but it just feels like to be this pull, from both ends. But I guys, when I think about it, because whenever we meet up, there's just this electricity, there's this underlying deep connection of us seeing each other, like in ways that I feel like abanye abantu baniboni, and I can feel when he's there emotionally and available, and I can feel when he's like, okay, I'm getting into like something that I don't want, and I just can't help but feel like there's just this trauma, with him that he makes it difficult, or it scares him to commit. So yeah, this is so long. Gosh.
Yes.
Okay, that was a mouthful.
Yeah.
A lot's happening there.
Yeah, a lot happening, hey?
What are we saying to Ananza, David?
Anonymous, thank you so much for the courage to,
to open up.
Because
yes. That was a lot. That's deep.
Yes, that's
a lot.
And the honesty, and she's frank, hey?
Yeah.
I think I would want to say the two of you are in a convenient situationship. And the reason why I say it's convenient is because it does not demand of the two of you. Whatever that it demands of you, it's on the surface. It's what anyone and everyone can give. Why am I saying this? From the beginning of this relationship in 2022, which is 3 years later, the lady knew that this man is not into commitment, children and kids. I mean, children and marriage. And now the question is, what led him to that decision? Because it's not an easy one. Everybody, when they grow up, they want to have a family, they want to be a mother and a father. And he took a conscious decision that he's standing by. 3 years later, he has been consistent. And I salute you, my guy. Yeah. You are not causing any confusion. She's very clear. That's why she says, at some stage when he felt, now I'm in too deep, he started to withdraw. Yeah, because he knows there is a fear that he's protecting himself against something. And the reason why I get it is convenient for him and her is because whenever he feels he's going down that road, he knows which button to push to cause load shedding. You speak about electricity. I'm wondering if he's also speaking about the same electricity.
Maybe he's an electrical conductor there by ESCOM.
Yeah. So the reason why this will go on and on and on and it will never stop is because the two of you have created a convenient situation. Listen to what she says. She says, none of us, it's like non-verbal. It's just, I'm not going to say it so that it does not, because the one who says it, then it poses a responsibility. Once I say,
So no one wants to really pull the trigger. It's like, I'm not touching this if you're not touching it.
And to make matters even more interesting, that's why they are dating other people in between. And the reason why they are not fully committed to those people is because there is a convenient relationship that they have, which is like a spare wheel. So because of that reason, they do not fully go into. So what it does to them is psychologically, they know I am just waiting for until I meet with my drug. So the two of you are going through an emotional, it's an emotional connection that is unguarded. And it is like wildfire. So the challenge with that is, now, because we also want to hear other questions, the problem with that is, one of the... when you speak about the intimacy there, when you speak about the sex, she says, the sex is good, and I'm not talking about you. No, my dear. You are talking about it in that manner. Whatever that you are feeling is personal, because that feeling cannot be shared. And when you want to now quantify how, it's beyond just physical, you are talking about yourself. Not the relationship, because as long as there's no commitment, we are not pouring into anything. What are they pouring into? Both of them are pouring into each other, and they are just using each other as just a container. But they're pouring into, you are just taking from pouring into you. That is why after a long time, you are going to realize that this is how we end up saying, no, men are and women are is because at that moment you feel the relationship has grown enough that you have proven yourself to him or to her. They should be feeling the same way. So my advice to you is break out of that habit.
But how does, because I feel like she wants to,
Yes.
from what I heard,
Yes.
she wants to break out of it, but I think it's the breaking out that's a struggle.
Yes.
Yeah, so how does she?
This is how you do it. Number one, the man was honest with you. He did not lie. He did not hide his whatever they say. He shared he was vulnerable. Remember, if you want a chicken to give you eggs, you take care of the chicken so it can continue laying eggs. But when the chicken can go around talking good about you. You don't know umlungwam. I am fed well. I even have water. I even take supplements. But is it necessarily for you? No, it's for my eggs. So now the only way that you are going to be able to break out of this cycle, number one, is to value yourself more than what you stand to gain out of that relationship. What I mean by that is, if I buy this particular item right now, the effect will not last long, but I am going to feel good. But now, in the process, being broke and not having money for bread is more important to me than the feeling of a new jersey or a new pair of sneakers. So based on this priority, I prefer, or I choose to suffer the loss of that opportunity of a thrill at something that is more fulfilling. So when I say this, when I say you should value yourself more than what you stand to gain out of that relationship, is that if you want... Sometimes in our quest to get well, the medicine that will be prescribed is not sweet. And if you are waiting for sweet, if you are waiting for me to give you 7 steps, you just need to tell the guy, my guy, I want more, because clearly you want more. And the more that you want is not with him. So if you don't want to go to Johannesburg and you are traveling due south and they tell you Johannesburg is due north, if you don't want to continue going south, the only thing that you need to do is to change direction. You keep walking, but not in that same direction. So you need to walk away from that relationship and don't run away. You need to be honest with that man. Say, man, it has been good 2022, but I realized that what I'm looking for is not going to be found in this relationship. And because of that, the people that you are dating, you are missing your Mr. Right because of just a spur of a moment thing. We will separate. We are not even in the same city. So it demands nothing, not much from him or from you. That is why it is sweet.
Do you believe, so I'm a strong believer of single people energy.
Yes.
Right? And I also believe that when your heart is somewhere else, you don't give off that energy.
Yes.
And therefore, you then end up not attracting the person who could have been destined for you.
Yes.
Is that a thing?
It is a thing. And let me put it this way so that people don't think we are superstitious. If you are looking for today you're looking lovely. Imagine if the day when you got that dress, you're looking for a brown one. And because of pressure, you said, the wedding is in 2 weeks. I won't have time to do shopping again. Do you know that even if you were looking stunning in a brown dress, there's a part of you that would never be satisfied because brown is not maroon.
It's not what you want.
So, what you were saying, it is exactly what you've just said. To say, because you are hoping for something outside of this, you are holding on to this as long as I do not meet the maroon one. But now, if somebody is to pass with the maroon dress, all of a sudden, you will even feel like I look big in this. Like, what is this?
It's not what I wanted.
Yes. So the reason why we end up not, packaging ourselves for the right people is because there's a part of us that is holding on to an idea that is not manifesting in the current. So sometimes the best you can do is to wait. Is to wait. And when I say wait, I don't have a time frame. Sometimes waiting.
No, because some of us have been waiting, Pastor.
Yes.
And we've been waiting. And yes, it's anyway. We have turned into skeletons.
Oh my goodness.
And I just want to ask, do you think that Anonymous is dealing with a case of being with a man that's just emotionally unavailable?
Yes.
And how do we break away from those men? Because it's not just her.
Yes.
I find myself in positions sometimes where I'm attracted to a man that's just emotionally unavailable. And I want this person to be available because in my delusion, and Uchilo Naya, she mentioned
Call me
Delulu.
delusional.
No, because sometimes, guys, it's the only Selulu.
Yes.
Don't come for me. It is. Sometimes living in delusion is just the way to go and call it a day.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? Because sometimes in my Delulu, I'll be like, I know he's not emotionally available, but if I show him all these great traits that I know I have, all these great traits that I know equate to an amazing woman, an amazing partner, an amazing wife. And if he sees them, maybe eventually he'll come to the party.
Yes.
How do you break away from that?
First and foremost, a mule will never be a horse.
Yes,
a mule will never be a horse. And by so saying is that even if you can dress it like a horse, teach it how to walk like a horse, the more you are waiting, the more it expresses that it's a mule.
It's not a horse.
How then do you move away from a horse, from a mule that you expected to be a horse, so that you can be able to find a horse?
You go look for a horse? You go to a stable? Because you said that, let me take a different direction. If you love, let's say, a Mini Cooper, all of a sudden you begin to see Mini Coopers around. It's not that Mini Coopers have just become abundant. They've always been there, but you were preoccupied with every other car that you saw except that. So the only way that you're going to be able to move from a man who is not emotionally there, when you know he's not emotionally available, and when he's not there emotionally, lo and behold, he is emotionally available somewhere else. Men don't sacrifice their happiness for nothing. I don't like this conversation.
Yeah. So
I don't like this talk.
So now the delusion of saying you are waiting for a mule to become a horse. So just like the example that I gave, that now you are beginning to see Mini Cooper everywhere. What you must do then is you narrow down your focus. And how did you start seeing Mini Coopers? When you decided that there are many cars, but the one I'm looking for is a Mini Cooper. And now all of a sudden, some of us, the man that you are looking for, it's closer than you think. The only reason why you are not even able to see him as a potential is because you are in your delusional moment where you are waiting for a mule. A fully fleshed horse is right here.
Yeah.
But everything about this horse is wrong. Why? Because you are waiting for that mule. Look at him. But as soon as you bring back your focus, last week we spoke about a different teacher. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that, to narrow down your focus, is to be frank. A lot of women are not honest with themselves. But one of this thing, Yoguba, I'm strong. There is no need for you to be strong. We end up being strong even when no one is watching. You need to be honest with yourself to say, I'm not happy. Because while you are waiting, the more you are pouring and trying to prove to this mule that it can be a horse, the more you are losing a part of yourself. And before you know it, you don't even know what are your values anymore. There comes the pressure. So the only way that you can do it, unfortunately, it is hard work, because you're emotionally attached to this emotionally absent individual, but they are having fun because you are there. So
living
now,
life.
Yeah, living the life. They know that they can even tell you, like, oh yeah. I once said somewhere that if you want to leave, you can leave. I'm not even going to beg you. And so we are waiting to say, are you going to leave? Yeah, but then how do you? I'm like, oh, you're not going to leave. So they told you can leave. So the man was being honest. I'm not even going to beg you. I don't even care. So if you want, you leave. And you are going to suffer pain of loss. Yeah. But I'd rather mourn a relationship for now and prepare myself for a lifetime of happiness than to hold on to the pain simply because it is being given. They said the forest kept on voting for the X because it had a wooden handle. That's what we are doing. We keep on going to that same man because at least the sex is good. At least he's paying for my rent. But what you do not realize is that they are more sentimental and more important things than the sex and the money. Tomorrow things can turn around and change for your good. But what kind of a person would you be?
There's something more important than money.
Yes. I promise you. But when you are broke, money is the only thing that is more important. Let's put it that way. Yes. Okay, yeah. Okay.
I feel attacked.
Let me put it out. Okay, let me just put it like this.
Sometimes love is not enough.
No, love will never be enough.
Yeah.
Do I look here?
Everywhere.
Love was never meant to be enough. That is the reason why love is a choice, not a feeling. Okay, now we are back here.
Okay.
So the reason why love is not supposed to be enough is because, number one, even when you go through scriptures, they say, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your might and everything else. It's like giving yourself wholeheartedly to your faith. And then it says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But now, love is expressed in more ways than words. It is expressed in more ways than just feelings. It is an active word.
It's an action.
It's an action. So that is why now people like Gary Chapman, who wrote 5 Love Languages, they were exposing to us that love is not just a feeling. And they are those, we relate with love from different angles. And they are marriages that lasted, not because of a feeling, but because now there were pressing conditions that made it, I don't want to say convenient, but that forced the two of them to bear with each other until the feeling came back. It found them still grinding because at that moment, what kept the relationship was not love. What kept the relationship is that it could be the kids. It could be the fact that now when kids come into this system, they add a particular level of responsibility and our focus is shifted, and because of that our relationship might survive those years because we are focused on the kids. And it is only now unfortunately you will realize when the kids now start growing and they leave your house, you realize you've left your relationship back then. So love was never meant to be enough, otherwise then this world would not be able to need each other, because the same love that you're giving to the next person, you are giving it to yourself. So if love was enough, then you'd love yourself and then it will be shanana. But now you need another person to be able to show you ways and express what we call love.
Ne?
Yes.
Wait, a quick one before we leave now, because we're running out of time.
Okay, sweet.
Is there anything wrong with dating multiple people at the same time? And when I say dating, I don't mean having sex with those people. Dating in the sense of getting to know these people to see, out of these candidates, who qualifies the most, right? Because I feel like in South Africa, we have this thing where if I'm with you and I'm dating you, now I can't be dating other people. I must just focus, all my focus must come to you, and all my energy must come to you. And now I must figure out if you are the person that I want or not. And then 10 years later, I figure out you are not the person that I want. And I've wasted all these years being with you when I could have been going on multiple dates, seeing multiple people, trying to figure out from these multiple stems, which one is the one for me? Like, can we quickly just touch on that topic real quick?
Okay. Now, the question is it wrong? No, it is not.
Okay.
Because once you speak about dating, it's a period, an intentional period of getting to know somebody better. It could be a colleague, it could be somebody you go to church with, it could be somebody down the street. So you are saying, in the context of a committed relationship, and I'm trying to use committed relationship so that I do not contradict with what I said previously on the issue of love. So now, if the idea is for me now, I'm getting to know you better. The question that we need to pose to the one who is taking this step to get to know somebody better, it's what exactly are you looking for? That is why I'll always refer you back to say, you need to be self-aware so that you know what you are looking for. Because otherwise, when you go out with this men or with these women, you are interacting with warm bodies. These are people with experiences. These are people with emotions and all of that. So now the problem is because we do not know how to date. When we are on dates, we are already discussing how many kids am I.
No, because Pastor, you look at me once in my eyes and I'm already imagining our wedding.
Oh, certainly, you can't. You see, but if it's dating, I'm getting to know you better. Okay, let me close it in the interest of time. Before I bought this jacket, I put a few on. And it was not just a matter of size. Remember, my wife is my type. And when I mean my type, I mean physically. And I needed to take that to say physically, I'm attracted to her. And then I had to see beyond physique, because tomorrow anything can happen, God forbids, that now the physique is challenged. People grow, people gain weight, people lose weight. So now, what else is in store for me? Should now the physique change? And you realize that when we say love is not enough, is that there is a place for attraction. There's a place for sacrifice. There is a place for patience. And because of that, now I begin to interrogate her, put her on a scale of, as a human being, is she kind? So kindness can you might find that I'm attracted to you physically, but you are not kind. And because kindness matters to me based on who I am and whatever, it is an element I'm not willing to sacrifice. So no, you are not, if you are in your dating, especially if you're doing it right, dating for the right reasons, you are getting to know people better. I can get to know, I can fit 7 of them to see which one fits me the most and which one fits me the best. The fact that it fits me, you are my type, does not necessarily mean that I'm going to take you home. Yeah.
But how do you date right without offending people? Because people take offense.
Yes.
When they find out that you're out here fitting multiple jackets.
Yes.
And it's like, but I'm trying to find my style.
Yes.
So how do we then have the conversation without offending people?
Yes. We can't speak about dating and you are already looking for your missing panties. Like we are speaking about dating. So I think no. When we speak about dating, emotions are not involved because, in all honesty, the only way that I can be able to put it like to say it in a way that I feel it will suit what I'm trying to say. At that moment, it's like a business transaction. There are no emotions involved. Because right now I'm saying I've got so much to give. And I want to know if you are the right container into which I'm supposed to invest. So my emotions are not involved. So I am interrogating. From the moment we walk into that restaurant, the screening process has started. The way you talk to the waiters, and you might sound like, no, doesn't happen. Because people are themselves when they are relaxed. Yes. So sometimes I've been through it myself. You go out on a date and then whether you feel that was a beautiful date and the woman says, I'm not good doing this again. You call them, it's like, okay, so when am I seeing you again? It's like, I don't think.
So this is why we're not getting callbacks.
Yeah.
Some of us are not married. We are still in the audition stages.
Yes, no, you failed the auditions.
Because like for me personally, I never understand when it's a good date.
Yes.
It's a really good date. And I go home thinking, that was a great date. A second one, surely.
Yes.
It's like a no-brainer.
And you wait.
And then 1 week passed.
And you're checking the statuses.
And then eventually you have to come to terms with the fact that actually you got to ghosted up.
Yes. So that's the reason why people end up feeling offended is because you are entitled. Get off your high horse.
I'm on my horse and I don't want to.
All right. No, get ready to be offended. Because the reason why...
It's offensive.
Yes.
It's offensive. My expensive perfume.
Yes.
My makeup. My wig. My dress. Me wearing this corset. I can't eat. I can't breathe. I can't laugh. I have to laugh with my shoulders like this when I'm laughing. And then when you don't want another date, and it's offensive. It's offensive.
And if this is what you are looking for, the life that we are going to live, you don't have to put on a corset. So it's worth the sacrifice. That's why you go through the interviews, you put your CV and they'll still ask you, so tell us about yourself. You can't say, look at my CV.
Yeah.
So it's a worthy sacrifice, especially if you are intentional about it. So when I say get off your high horse, you are not entitled, and people have the right to perceive you the way that they perceive you. Because some of us, we feel we are God's greatest gift to humanity.
But ask me about myself. Ask me about me. I'll tell you. Don't perceive me how you think. Ask me. I'll tell you.
After that day, I realized, you are worse than what I perceive.
Come to me and ask me about me.
No. Everybody will put a best foot forward. Everyone is right. But now that's why going out on dates matters. And going out on date is not just subjected to what? Do you know that there are people, when they were going out on a date, they visited a friend and they were just amongst their are you free this weekend? And like, I'm not doing anything. So no, a friend of mine is doing a braai. And when I get there, I'm not going to introduce you as my girlfriend. Guys, I came with a friend of mine, being polite. This is, this is my cousin. This is my what. And throughout that time, I am looking at you. How do you gel with these people? And then some of us, unfortunately, I bring you to a circle of some of my friends. Like, maybe you're not even aware that I'm actually eyeing you. And then when you are in the midst of my friends, you pull back, you're on your phone, you are there by the corner, you are treating yourself like a diva. That's the last time you're going to go there.
Yeah, so guys.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a daughter. Pastor, thank you so much. We've run out of time.
No, you're welcome, my dear.
And thank you so much for coming. I was actually wanted to ask you one last thing.
Okay.
Right? Because you had mentioned putting your emotions aside when you are going through the dating.
Yes.
But what if you're a love bomber like me? Like I said, you look me in the eye one time.
Yes.
And I'm already picturing our children, our wedding, our house, our dogs. I already have dog names set aside for us. Like, how does a person like me who's a love bomber approaches the dating scene? Don't laugh, Pastor. Just
the
because
reason
you're married.
I'm laughing is because it's becoming evident that many are like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm laughing because I'm just remembering someone who got there and said, the signs were there. I'm an open.
Because sometimes I feel like I can't wrong. Because I felt felt like it was the spark.
It's like you do that. No. If you want to exposing yourself too early can actually be the reason why someone is staying for the wrong reasons. And you speak about a love bomber. There are women who express the love bomber as what they call help. So even before we go far, let's not talk even about the meal. You are already asking, because you heard me say something about my son's school fees. So how much is it? And that's because that's the kind of person that you are. And unfortunately, if you are going to do this, you might realize that I am staying because you are of help to me.
Not because
I'm into you.
Not because I'm what you want.
No, it's just because you're willing to help. Yeah. So the best way to go about it, sometimes if you know for a fact that you are unable, like you would be out there and say, take me, I'm yours.
Steve over.
Yeah. Don't go out on dates by yourself.
Okay.
Don't go by yourself. And when I say don't go by yourself, it's like look for convenient situations, like the one that I mentioned, to say there's a gathering of friends somewhere, so that your potential whoever does not realize, I brought you on a date and now you bring a friend. You bring a friend. Because there's a lot that you're going to learn from a person when they are not. The reason why they put you are under surveillance is so that people can. But when people are not aware that they are being recorded, that's why they call it candid. So people are more candid when they are relaxed. So if you know for a fact that you can't, before you know it, the man will be taking advantage of you and you'll think, how could you do this to me? Don't go out by yourself. Have a friend somewhere and then let's have it. And then, Nina, the last thing, yes. Lena, board of directors of relationships of our girlfriends and our wives. Stop just finding everything wrong about us, because if the board of directors does not like you, my brother, you are child.
Hey,
yes.
No, because what my best friend thinks about you really matters.
It really matters, yeah.
It really matters. And if she doesn't like you, I don't like you.
Yeah. We don't like you.
It's time to go back to the drawing board.
Yes. So that's why just to put it mildly, you already know yourself. You are self-aware. Now I'm not going to be objective when I get there. Don't just start by being by yourself, because before you know it, you will be paying for things. You will be, you will be no. But
that can never be me. I'm just putting it out there.
So love bombers.
My ancestors would deny me.
So love bombers, the ones who let's try a different way. Introduce this person. Let's go to church. After church, then we'll go out on a date, for a light lunch.
Pastor, that's a conversation for another day, because I also feel some type of way about taking people that you're casually dating to church, because I feel like that's such an intimate thing.
Yes.
Yes. But now we have run out of time, and we can't. But we are going to
keep
talk about
pouring questions so they can call me back.
Bringing those questions. Thank you so much for your time, David. Thank you guys welcome. For watching, and please do not forget to like and subscribe.
Yes.
Share, comment, send those voice notes. Remember, the episode goes out first on Spotify. So if you don't have the Spotify app, please download it. And if you do, go on YouTube and watch again.
Please.
Yes. And tell your friends and family members to subscribe. And we love you. Thank you so much. David?
Yes.
We're going to close it now.
Yeah.
The thing is, right?
Yeah.
What you're going to do about it is, it's so childish. It's like it's a preschool. So I'm going to need you to help me with this. Let's say together what you're going to do about it. Something, because we're doing something about these topics.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
What you gonna do about it? Something.